What is up, everybody? How you all doing today? As you can see, we are trekking down this old paved road. And you may be wondering, hey Nature Man, what is up with this old paved road? Well, I'm glad you asked, because, well, first off, we reached this intersection here where we can either go left or continue going straight, or I think we're going to go somewhere into these woods here. But the reason why we are here is because this is an old abandoned nudist campground. Yeah, folks, you heard me right. It's an old abandoned nudist campground. So somewhere in these woods here, we're going to sneak in and we're going to set up a day camp with a tarp tent shelter, and it should be totally awesome. Now I am seeing tracks here, so there's a vehicle that's come down this way. It's a little muddy here in some spots, but I want to show you some really cool things here. Obviously, as an old former campground, and we're actually going to sneak in this way. As an old former campground, you're going to see signs of what used to be here. And that right there is some sort of a junction box for electrical, I guess. Something like that, maybe. You can actually see there's a cable. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me zoom in. There's a cable right there, and you see that dark wood. That's actually an old telephone pole. I think you can see it from the top there. Let me zoom in again. Yeah, right up there. Oh yeah, an old telephone pole. So this was definitely filled with activity in here. So let's go ahead and let's sneak in here and show you what we have going on, because I've been to here a few times and this is a really cool set of woods. You could hear the road not too far from me, but I believe there may have been something in this area here at one point. And the reason why I say that is because you can see these rocks here that are forming this ledge, and then it kind of flattens out over here. All of these young trees, and then we've got a nice patch of green grass over here. Look at this, folks. Really cool spot. Look at that moss over on the ground. Really nice. And then we have another patch of exceptionally awesome green grass right here. Beautiful. And up there, check this out, folks. There is an old light post. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely beautiful. Look at all these young pine trees in this area. Gorgeous. So I think what I'm going to be doing is, in this area here, is I'm going to set up my tarp tent. So I need to clear out some of this debris, and we're just going to do a day camp adventure in this abandoned nudist campground with a tarp tent shelter. So stay tuned for that, folks. I'm excited to be here. Glad you could join me. Let's have some fun and enjoy this beautiful day. Now it's supposed to hit close to 64, 65 degrees today. So we're definitely hitting that spring/summer weather for today. Whereas tomorrow is supposed to be in the 50s. So this is a perfect day for me to be out to do this tarp tent shelter, just to show you guys something new that I have with a new tarp that I acquired, the Aquaquest Safari 10x10 tarp. I have that in my pack, and my sleeping pad, all the good stuff. So let me go ahead and take my pack off and go ahead and get this area cleaned up, and then we'll start forming that tarp tent and show you how to put it together. I think this will be a good area for that, surrounded by all of these beautiful trees here, all of this young pine. Oh yeah. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and get the old backpack off. As you see, I've got my full kit with me, And I have to laugh because there's another channel out there that I follow, and he's talked about these poles here that they're not really ideal for going camping with, but honestly, the amount of weight that you're using in your pack, it's like, I think they're like a pound each. It's really not that bad. Yeah, they stick up from the pack, but most people that go packing for camping adventures, they're carrying these big backpacks that are like 50-60 liters, and they're like huge. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm actually going to take my jacket off here because it's starting to get a little warm already. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to start clearing things out here, get this area prepped and ready to go for our tarp tent shelter. Oh yeah. Any of these big pieces I just want to move aside. Smaller pieces, twigs and branches and all that good stuff. Anything that I think would be in the way, I just want to toss to the side. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I certainly don't want anything poking and prodding at me. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to finish cleaning up this area. I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to set up the tarp. All right, folks, so here is the tarp itself. Like I said, it's the Aquaquest Safari 10x10 tarp. It's a new addition to my kit. And one thing I want to point out is, as you go about going hiking and camping, you're going to pick up new gear. You're going to pick up new ideas and ways of doing things differently. So for today, we're doing, like I said, the tarp tent shelter setup. And you might want to have a regular tent that's a freestanding tent. I did have a poll on my community tab page, if you haven't seen it already, just asking folks what they'd be more interested in with tent setup, and the majority of you spoken. You said a freestanding tent. So I do have plans on picking one up and showing you guys how to utilize that, not only with the fly sheet but also with the tarp. So what we're going to do now is, this is the space we're going to be working with, and I want my door to be facing this way because behind me is all of these trees, so we're covered here. No one can see us here, but I want point of eyes to see from entry here. So what we're going to do is take this, and I want my ridge line to be facing this direction here. I'm going to unfold it like so. Like I said, I want the view from here. This is going to be the back side. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a tie out from this corner and this corner. We're going to stake it down. That's going to be slid underneath, and then the center we're going to have a pole going straight up, and then the two corners are going to be coming down, and I'll show you that as well. What I have in here is not your regular stakes. I actually picked up these ABS plastic stakes. Very lightweight, but will get the job done. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna take this corner and this corner here. And normally when you're doing a tarp tent setup, you're gonna guy out this point and then slide this underneath. But you're gonna see the reason why we're gonna just do this point and slide it underneath in just a moment. So we're gonna take this and just stick that in the ground. Make sure we're holding this straight. We have our hole here, and I just have this at a normal height. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to raise this up. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this corner and this corner, and I'm going to bring them together and just kind of like loosely stake them in place, so when I raise this, it has a place to go. So I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to come about to here, a little past this. So I'm going to create As you can see, hopefully you can see this, folks, I'm creating like a V shape here. I'm going to come out to about here and sink this into the ground. Straighten this out. Going to come out to here, just a little past this, creating this V shape. Try to line this up together. Now, as you can see, when we lift this up, we're going to get a nice point coming up. Now we can take this, loop this, and as you can see, it's starting to form the shelter here. And like I said, this is going to come out, it's going to come out. That's, anyways, you're going to see. You're going to see. Is we're going to loosen this up. And then we'll be able to raise and lower this as needed. And actually, I have these straps on here, which I could use, pull the back. So I'm going to fine tune this and I'll bring you guys back in a moment. All right, folks, so yeah, I am sweating it out because it is warm. And as you can see, I pretty much have it set up as best as I can for this situation. But basically, as you can see, you've got plenty of room to come in here. And let's say you're going to have, you could have your sleeping pad or whatever over here. There's plenty of room for it. By just putting this over here, you've got an extra layer of protection. And actually, you could put another ground sheet down below here. You're protected from the wind. And if you need to protect from the rain, obviously you could drop this back down just a little bit. There's a different configuration to close it off to be fully protected. The other thing you could do is if you set the ridge line going this way, essentially you could get two poles on the inside and do a setup with the two poles on the inside, pitching this up. So that's another way of doing things. But yeah, as you can see, there's plenty of room in here to relax. If it were to rain, the rain would just fall down on the sides here. And yeah, there's plenty of room in here. You can actually lay something out here, which I'm going to do. And by putting this in the front, it gives you all of this space. All right, folks, so as you can see, here is our very humble abode. And yeah, check this out. Plenty of headroom. Obviously, I've got this thing set up so high. And the reason why I have it not all the way to the ground today is because I do want some airflow because it is a warmer day. But if you're having the inclement weather, you know, rain is coming, you need to build a shelter real quick or relatively quickly, this is one way to go. Basically having the back panel coming in underneath, that blocks the rain from coming inside from the back side. And like I said, you can lower these two, lower this down. You're still going to have plenty of headroom, but you can have the protection from the rain coming inside. But for today, this is perfect. And as you can see, I've got my sleeping pad here. Again, this is not a perfect setup. This is just to give you guys an idea, an example of what you can do. So if you're out there on a hiking / backpacking trip and you're working with not minimal gear, but just the most convenient gear, this is a setup that could work, especially during the spring and summertime. Another thing is a bug net mesh tent setup, which I want to do as well. But it's all about getting out there and trying something new. So yeah, so let me go ahead and lay down and show you guys how much room there really is when I'm laying down. And I just have my orange tarp on the ground just as a ground sheet. But wow, look at this. Like I said, there's plenty of room back here. Look, I've got an arm's length, and I'm pretty much not even really in the center here. Ah, this feels good, folks. Real good. All right, folks, it's time to crack open some bubbly. You know I love my bubbly, and this is my lime bubbly. So the history of this property dates back, I believe, to the 1960s and 70s. This was a former campground, a nudist campground. There was a building, when you first pull in, there was a building which was the office, and then they had a tent set up. It was a pretty big tent too, and that was what inspired me to come out to this location and do this setup, because kind of like a throwback to that era with the big tent they had, and it might have been in this area, I don't know. And then further down there is a body of water, a little pond, a little swimming hole, if you will, that people would go swimming at, and there was some buildings there as well. Yeah, so but I guess what happened was in the 60s and in the 70s, the town, they felt like it was not the best thing for this area, and they wanted to protect the children from that activity. So there were meetings, and what it came down to is they basically voted against it, and they had to shut the property down. And yeah, so it's been abandoned for like 50 years, I think. But crazy. It's crazy, the stuff and the history when you research these locations that you go to. Unreal. But I'm loving this. And this tarp is perfect, guys. It's, like I said, the Aquaquest Safari 10x10 tarp. It's a 70D nylon, so it's a little bit thicker, but surprisingly this one here is lighter than my Onewind tarp that I have. The Onewind tarp weighs in around over 2 pounds, and this one is about 1.6, 1.7, so it's actually lighter, so that's pretty good. Thicker material, but lighter. Listen to that bird. That's cool. So as I was saying, it came with these straps, and at first I wasn't sure how I was going to use them. And then once I figured out how the system works, I thought, this is amazing. So instead of using guy lines, basically it's a buckle strap system. So you can loosen and tighten with this buckle here and get it at the tension you want. It actually has a loop here, and then there's a loop here. So I just tied it to this loop here. Actually, if I wanted to, I could use a carabiner attached to this to make it a quick release system if I wanted to. But this works perfectly fine. Like I said, you can loosen and tighten these up. And as you can see, I just, for the fun of it, set up another strap down here. And then I pulled out this center loop with this top. And if I want to, I could actually pull it a little bit more to give it a little more tension, to pull it out, give more space in the back side of the tent. And again, I got another one down here, which I really don't need, but I just figured why not throw it in there for the fun of it. But this tarp has, I believe it's 19 tie-out points. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side. And then you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 14, I don't know, something like that, 14, 17. This tarp is one that is actually one I had my eyes on before the Onewind tarp. But I picked up the Onewind tarp to go along with the hammock because I thought it would give me what I wanted, which it does. But like I mentioned, sometimes not every piece of gear you have will work for every situation. So it's good to have alternatives, so that way you can go out there and do things that work. Wow, hopefully you guys can see that sunlight just peeking through these pine trees. Simply amazing. But yeah, so this is a very basic tent tarp setup. As you can see, it's really easy to put together. It really is. Just to stake out the back corners, and then you can, with the straps, as you can see, you could actually do that. Center pole. Again, the sky is the limit. You could actually put 2 poles on the inside, so you have them more raised on the sides there. The sky is limitless, folks. It really is. But let me get back down there, drink some more bubbly, get some food cooking, and show you how convenient it is to have a system like this, to have that shelter and protection, and yet still be open to the environment. Really cool. You know, folks, as I'm sitting here enjoying this delicious meal, I'm thinking about yesterday. Yesterday was Solar Eclipse 2024. Did you guys check it out? I went to the ponds, set up my tarp and hammock, did a porch setup so I could have the sun not in direct view of my eyes. But it was a surreal experience, because as the sun was becoming darkened, which over here was more like a very, very partial eclipse, you could see how the atmosphere was changing, the strength of the sunlight was diminishing, and things became more faded and muted, if you will. But it was just an incredibly awesome experience. So did you guys have a chance to experience it as well? Drop a comment below and let me know if you experienced Solar Eclipse 2024. All right, folks, so I just wanted to take a walk down this way and see if I can show you the pond. I did take a look at my area that I've got the tent tarp set up, and it is pretty well hidden from plain view, so unless you're actually looking for it, you're really not going to see it. These big tire tracks do concern me a little bit, because they look somewhat fresh. I don't know, folks. What would you do in this situation? If you keep walking, would you turn back around? And again, I didn't see any signs that say no trespassing or private property or anything like that. This was another open area that I think there may have been a building over here at some point. You can see how the land is cleared. These are fresh. Okay, folks, so this is where the nerves kick in just a little bit, because last time I was here, there was no tire tracks. But we are approaching where the water is, so we're going to take a quick peek, and then we'll turn back around, because I don't want to be out here too far from my stuff. But I just want to give you guys a quick peek of where this water was at. Here we go. Here we go, folks. So this was basically, this was the swimming hole. This is where they could go swimming. So peaceful. Okay, that's it, folks. I am turning back around because I'm not going to go any further. You can see there's more land over here, but I want to get back to my site. I don't want to leave that unattended for too long. Just want to give you guys a quick peek of that. Whew. Like I said, the tires are a little concerning for me. It could be for the Freetown State Forest people that come out here and do their thing, whatever. But the nerves do kick in a little bit, especially when you're by yourself. All right, I'm gonna head back to the camp. Bring you guys back in just a moment. Alrighty, folks, so I've been out here for quite a long time, and I decided to try a different tarp setup. And let's just say there was a few choice words in between trying to get this to work. But as you'll see in a moment, this is another way of setting up a tarp that looks exactly like those tents that you see, except it just doesn't have the ground sheet or the mesh for the bug netting. But anyways, take a look at this, folks. So the way I've set this up is I have basically a triangle in the front, and towards the back you're going to see how cool it looks without the pine. So strap down from this side, center pole. But once you come around to this side here, you'll start to see the shape of it change. And look at this, folks. This is more like those tents that you purchase. Look at this shape of it. Aerodynamic. So if there was wind and rain, it's just going to sheet off. I've pulled the back side, and now look at this. Now this looks like your typical tent, right? From the back side, you've got a back section there. And I just used the straps with the tarp, with the tent pole, hiking poles. And you could do this with guy line, which would probably be better. But you can see that works. Look at this aerodynamic look. That is so cool. And the rain will just basically beat off of it if it were to rain. And you have plenty and plenty of coverage inside. Let me get inside and show you. All right, folks, let me get inside and show you. Oh my gosh, look how much room you have. So basically, you still have plenty of room to get in here and lie down. And you have complete protection from the elements. You can lay down like that. You can lay down like this. You got that back corner there that's going to shield you from the wind. Basically, these two ends flap inside. Crazy setup. It took me a while, like I said, to figure it out. But I'm glad I did. This is another way of setting up a shelter. And let me get the sleeping pad. Alright, folks, just to give you some perspective with the sleeping pad here. If I do it like this, use the butt shot. Okay. So, if I go like that, you can see there's still plenty of room towards the back to store away your gear. You still have all of this coverage in the front. I could, in theory, lower this a little bit and then bring these sides down, and it would fully enclose it. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. And like I said, you got plenty of room towards the back here, so if you were going to lay like this, you could. Or you could easily put two people in here. Let me move this over. Oh yeah, you could easily fit two people in here, two sleeping pads. Oh, let me get down. Oh. I mean, not bad. Not bad at all. And if you really wanted to have some coverage, I mean, I've got my orange tarp. I could use that. Basically, I could create a door out of that if I wanted to. But, all right, folks, I've been at it for a while trying to get this to work. I'm exhausted, but I just want to give you guys another alternative if you're using a tarp and you want to set it up like a tent. This is just another way of doing so that gives you plenty of coverage from the elements. It really does. So, all right, I'm going to sign off now. It's been an incredible day. Some good moments, some not so great moments trying to get this to work. But that's what it's about, folks. Getting out there and trying new things out, working with the gear that you have, seeing what works, what doesn't work. Obviously, you could buy a tent, which down the road I want to. But this works too. This actually works very well. Not bad. All right, all my stuff is strewn all over the place. I need to tidy up and then eventually pack up and get out of here. Hope you've had a great day. Hope you've enjoyed this adventure, seeing me try a couple of different setups and what works, what doesn't work. And get out there, folks. Do it yourself. Explore nature. Have fun. Get dirty with nature like I am. Enjoy every moment of life, and I'll see you very soon.